and gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Testing the game.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
No BS, OBS, camera zoomed in, and the chat is lit. Stay tuned in. Zach Morris got detention like the cool kids. I do's this, homie, I thought you knew this. If you didn't, now you do, I had to prove it. Thanks for watching. What's everybody's favorite topic? Leave a comment in the chat and please
Refrain from gossip.
stop it. If you hating, there's no debating, promise. I'm going up like Hakeem. I can't wait to block you. Sorry, no dog, cause this a party. Get your popcorn ready, we about to get it started. I'm super grateful, thank you all for being with me. How we looking, am I good?
Sitting pretty.
I'm elated that you would take time to kick it with me. And I ain't famous, so I'm grateful for the subs you gifting. Shout out to Shadow, I know my guy is always listening. And I appreciate the bits, fire emoji pivot. Let's get it, I'ma give you what you came to see. Hit that follow button for me and we can proceed. An OG, Chios High, class of 03. Shout out to everybody back home and those that's in the stream. I appreciate you being there. Ooh, new background. Who this? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the night ride. You dig it? Come on. Come on. We're night riding, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time that I've actually streamed at night or in the evening where I am. So I thought it was only fitting that I give y'all a little something new. I'm glad you dig it. Shout out to the chat. Yeah. Oh, don't tell me these sound effects ain't gonna play for me. Are y'all hearing that? I'm not hearing it. There we go. All right, tell me if the sound effects don't come through. I actually, in keeping with this morning's theme of always trying to do a little something better, I got a new one for you. So I told her, no, but that's a really nice ski mask. Come on, baby. There it is. Little Seinfeld on that hot button. I don't love the fact that when I hit these buttons, they don't play right away. What's up? There it is. Anthony Rising in the chat, riding on E, my guy. Welcome back, A&T. I'm looking forward to when we get back on our podcast shtick. You dig? It won't be tonight. Tonight, it's going to be a short ride. Phil Connors, great idea. Keep in mind, you and I are going to have a lot of fun with those sounds. I'm quite confident. So hang on there, baby. But I love the ideas. Keep them coming. This was a special request. There were a couple of you that asked to keep the story going. And I'm super happy to see Shadow, and I know he's lurking. Unfortunately, I think he has a meeting, so he's not going to be able to perhaps participate as he normally does. And I feel kind of bad about that. Sorry, I didn't give you much of a heads up. Yo, first time chatter. Welcome. Give it up. Lego. We're in here. Thank you all for the love. I appreciate it. For sure, for sure. I thought that this might be cool and a different experience because now for so many of you, you're up and about. I think typically when I go live at 11 my time, it's like 5 a.m. And who am I kidding? Rico, send us your link. Well, I appreciate him doing so.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
My guy. I certainly appreciate him promoting. And frankly, he owes me one or two. All right? Just saying. But I'm happy you could be here. I hope it's fun for you. What we're going to do is pick up where we left off earlier with The Witcher. So the truth is when I stream solo dolo, what am I doing? It's just me, you know? It's going to be short-lived. I'm only going to be able to tell you what I had for breakfast and maybe the last movie I saw. So we came up with this idea that until I'm able to do the music thing, that maybe we could read together. And so far, so great. I think the feedback has been wonderful. I'm enjoying it. And I hope you're all along for the ride, pun intended. So anyway, but this is it. Thank you all for being with us. And we're going to keep this one a bit brief because, again, it's just meant to be a quick hello, short drive, down the road, turn it around, park that thing. So let's do it. Now, I'm going to catch you up because I'm sure some of you haven't watched the previous episodes. We're not going to go into too much detail, but let's change this mood lighting a little bit. And let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, back together again. Geralt and friends. Everybody's bedtime story. Those of you that are going to bed at, what, 4 o'clock, 4:30? I don't know what time it is where you are, but it's about that. Maybe less. All right. Now, most of you probably have seen the show already, so I don't have to bore you with all the grave details. But our guy, Geralt, is coming to town. He's got this parchment. He's having conversation with the authorities. He meets the king. Basically, the king's daughter is like a monster of sorts. Him and the king have dialogue. The king tells him, hey, go do what you got to do. If you can save my daughter, save her. If you can't, kill her. I don't want her to live like a monster. And I think that's what Geralt was prepared to do all along. So we're going to read chapter 4 and see how that goes. Everybody settle in. Get your chamomile tea. Here we go. Geralt looked out of place out the window for the last time. Dusk was falling rapidly. Beyond the lake, the distant lights of VIII twinkled. There was a wilderness around the old place, a strip of no man's land with which, over 7 years, the town had cut itself off from this dangerous place, leaving nothing but a few ruins, rotten beams, and the remains of a gap-toothed palisade, which had obviously not been worth dismantling and moving. As far away as possible, at the opposite end of the settlement, the king had built his new residence. The stout tower of his new palace loomed black in the distance against the darkening blue of the sky. In one of the empty, plundered chambers, the Witcher returned to the dusty table at which he was preparing, calmly and meticulously. He knew he had plenty of time. The Striga would not leave her crypt before midnight. On the table in front of him, he had a small chest with metal fillings. It opened. Inside, packed tightly in compartments lined with dried grass, stood small vials of dark glass. The Witcher removed 3. From the floor, he picked up an oblong packet thickly wrapped in sheepskins and fastened with a leather strap. He unwrapped it and pulled out a sword with an elaborate hilt in a black, shiny scabbard covered with rows of runic signs and symbols. He drew the blade, which lit up with a pure shine of mirror-like brightness. It was pure silver. Geralt whispered an incantation and drank, one after the other. Oh, gotta pause for that. Shout out. Appreciate the follow. Sincerely. Thank you. And thank you for being here. One more again. Geralt whispered an incantation and drank, one after the other, the contents of 2 vials, placing his left hand on the blade of the sword after each sip. Then, wrapping himself tightly in his black coat, he sat down on the floor. There were no chairs in the chamber, or in the rest of the palace. He sat motionless, his eyes closed. His breathing, at first even, suddenly quickened, became rasping and tense, and then stopped completely. The mixture which helped the Witcher gain full control of his body was chiefly made up of veritarum, stramonium, hawthorn, and spurge. Oh, that's 2 followers in an evening. Shout out. Sorry. It's worth it. The mixture which helped the Witcher gain full control of his body was chiefly made up of veratrum, stramonium, hawthorn, and spurge. The other ingredients had no name in any human language. For anyone who was not, like Geralt, inured to it from childhood, it would have been a lethal poison. The Witcher turned his head abruptly. In the silence, his hearing sharpened beyond measure. Easily picked out a rustle of footsteps through the courtyard overgrown with stinging nettles. It could not be the Striga. The steps were too light. Geralt threw his sword across his back, hid his bundle in the hearth of the ruined chimney place, and silent as a bat, ran downstairs. It was still light enough in the courtyard for the approaching man to see the Witcher's face. The man, Aaaaannd, backed away abruptly. An involuntary grimace of terror and repulsion contorted his lips. The Witcher smiled wryly. He knew what he looked like. After drinking a mixture of banewort, monk's hood, and eyebright, the face takes on the color of chalk, and the pupils fill the entire iris. But the mixture enables one to see in the deepest darkness, and this is what Geralt wanted. Aaaaannd quickly regained his control. "You look as if you were already a corpse, Witcher," he said. "From fear, no doubt. Don't be afraid. I bring you reprieve." The Witcher did not reply. "Don't you hear what I say, you Rivian charlatan? You're saved! And rich!" Aaaaannd hefted a sizable purse in his hand and threw it at Geralt's feet. 1,000 orens! Take it! Get on your horse and get out of here!" The Rivian still said nothing. "Don't gawp at me!" Aaaaannd raised his voice. "And don't waste my time. I have no intention of standing here until midnight. Do you understand? I do not wish for you to undo the spell. No, you haven't guessed. I am not in league with Valorad and Segalin. I don't want you to kill her. You're simply to leave. Everything is to stay as it is." The Witcher did not move. He did not want the magnate to realize how fast his movements and reactions now were. It was quickly growing dark. A relief, as even the semi-darkness of dusk was too bright for his dilated pupils. "And why, sir, is everything to remain as it is?" he asked, trying to enunciate each word slowly. "Now that," Aaaaannd raised his head proudly, "should really be a damn little concern to you." "And what if I already know?" "Go on." "It will be easier to remove Folsist from the throne if the Striga frightens the people even more. If the royal madness completely disgusts both the magnates and common folk, am I right? I came here by way of Redania and Novigrad. There is much talk there that are those in wisdom who look to King Vizimir as their savior and true monarch. But I, Lord Ostrid, do not care about politics or the successions to thrones or revolutions in palaces. I am here to accomplish my task. Have you never heard of a sense of responsibility and plain honesty? About professional ethics? Careful to whom you speak, you vagabond! Ostrid yelled, furiously, placing his hand on the hilt of his sword. I have had enough of this! I am not accustomed to hold such discussions. Look at you. Ethics. Codes of practice. Morality? Who are you to talk? A brigand who's barely arrived before he starts murdering men? Who bends double to Faustus and behind his back bargains with Valarad like a hired thug? And you dare to turn your nose up at me, you serf? Play at being a knowing one? A magician, you scheming witcher? Be gone before I run the flat of my sword across your gob. The witcher did not stir. He stood calmly. You'd better leave, Lord Ostrid, he said. It's growing dark. Ostrid took a step back, drew his sword in a flash. You asked for this, you sorcerer! I'll kill you! Your tricks won't help you. I carry a turtle stone. Geralt smiled. The reputation of Turtlestone was as mistaken as it was popular. But the Witcher was not going to lose his strength on spells, much less expose his silver sword to contact with Ostrid's blade. He dived under the whirring blade and, with the heel of his hand and his silver-studded cuff, hit him in the temple. There you go! What is Ostrid thinking, huh? Come on, baby, don't step to Geralt like that. Come on, I just took my 2 vials. You really want to do this? I don't think so. Ladies and gentlemen, that was chapter 4. How we feeling? Some of my people have work. Some of y'all have other life responsibilities. I think this feels good to me. If you're good, I'm good. If you want another chapter, you know that I'm a generous streamer. But I need the feedback. I'm not going to make this decision all on my own. But I'd like it. I hope you dig it. I hope you like the voices. I at least really like Geralt. He's cool. Everybody else kind of has the same voice depending on when I get to their parts. I see a yes. I'm not sure what that means. Probably keep going. Again, I feel bad for those that can't follow along. They're going to have to rewatch the VOD. Chooch is good for one more. All right, hey.
Testing the game.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's do it. The truth is I'm into it also. And
That's what she said.
all right. The class has spoken. The tribe has spoken. Okay, good news is chapter 5 is not all that long. We're going to be okay. Let's figure out what happens. I'm really curious to see what happens when this Striga wakes up. So maybe this will be that. All right, let's get back into it. Focus. Ostrid quickly regained consciousness and looked around in total darkness. He noticed that he was tied up. He did not see Geralt standing right beside him, but he realized where he was and let out a prolonged, terrifying howl. Keep quiet, said the Witcher. Otherwise you'll lure her here and out before her time. You damned murderer! Where are you? Untie me immediately, you louse! You'll hang for this, you son of a bitch! Quiet! Ostrid panted heavily.
You're leaving me here to be devoured by her, tied up?
He asked, quieter now, whispering a vile invective.
No, said the Witcher. I'll let you go, but not now. You scoundrel, hissed Astrid. To distract the Striga?
Yes. Astrid didn't say anything. He stopped wiggling and lay quietly.
Witcher?
Yes.
It's true that I wanted to overthrow Faustus. I'm not the only one, but I am the only one who wanted him dead. I wanted him to die in agony, to go mad, to rot alive. Do you know why?
Geralt remained silent.
I loved Ada, the king's sister, the king's mistress, the king's trollop. I loved her. Witcher, are you there?
I am.
I know what you're thinking, but it wasn't like that. Believe me, I didn't cast any spells. I don't know anything about magic. Only once in anger did I say. Only once. Witcher, are you listening?
I am.
It's his mother. The old queen. It must be her. She couldn't watch him and Ada. It wasn't me. I only once, tried to persuade them, but Ada... Witcher, I was bestowed and said... Witcher, was it me? Me?
It doesn't matter anymore.
Witcher, is it nearly midnight?
It's close.
Let me go. Give me more time.
No. Astrid did not hear the scrape of the tomb lid being moved aside, but the Witcher did. He leant over, and with his dagger, cut the magnate's bonds. Astrid did not wait for the word. He jumped up, numb, hobbled clumsily, and ran. His eyes had grown accustomed enough to the darkness for him to see his way from the main hall to the exit. The slab blocking the entrance to the crypt opened and fell to the floor with a thud. Geralt, prudently behind the staircase, saw the misshapen figure of the Striga speeding swiftly and unerringly in the direction of Astrid's receding footsteps. Not the slightest sound issued from the Striga. A terrible, quivering, frenzied scream tore the night, shook old walls, continued rising and falling, vibrating. The Witcher couldn't make out exactly how far away it was. His sharpened hearing deceived him, but he knew that the Striga had caught up with Astrid quickly, too quickly. He stepped into the middle of the hall, stood right at the entrance to the crypt. He threw down his coat, twitched his shoulders, adjusted the position of his sword, pulled on his gauntlets. He still had some time. He knew that the Striga, although well fed after the last full moon, would not readily abandon Astrid's corpse. The heart and liver were, for her, valuable reserves of nutrition for the long periods spent in lethargic sleep. The Witcher waited. By his count, there were 3 hours left until dawn. The cock's crow could only mislead him. Besides, there were probably no cocks in the neighborhood. He heard her. She was trudging slowly, shuffling along the floor, and then he saw her. The description had been accurate. The disproportionately large head, set on a short neck,
was surrounded by a tangled, curly halo of reddish hair. Her eyes shone in the darkness like an animal's. The Striga stood motionless, her face fixed on Geralt. Suddenly, she opened her jaws, as if proud of her rows of pointed white teeth, then snapped them shut with a crack, like a chest being closed, and leapt, slashing at the Witcher with her bloodied claws. Geralt jumped to the side, spun a swift pirouette. The Striga rubbed against him, also spun around, slicing through the air with her talons. She didn't lose her balance and attacked anew, mid-spin, gnashing her teeth fractions of an inch from Geralt's chest. The Rivian jumped away, changing the direction of his spin with a fluttering pirouette to confuse the Striga. As he leapt away, he dealt a hard blow to the side of her head with the silver spike studding the knuckles of his gauntlet. The Striga roared horribly, filling the palace with a booming echo, fell to the ground, froze, and started to howl, howly and furiously. The Witcher smiled maliciously. His first attempt, as he had hoped, had gone well. Silver is fatal to the Striga, as it was for most monsters brought into existence through magic. So there was a chance. The beast was like others, and that boded well for lifting the spell, while the silver sword would, as a last resort, assure his life. The Striga was in no hurry with her next attack. She approached slowly, baring her fangs, dribbling repulsively. Geralt backed away, and carefully, placing his feet, traced a semicircle. By slowing and quickening his movements, he distracted the Striga, making it difficult for her to leap. As he walked, the Witcher unwound a long, strong silver chain, weighted at the end. The moment the Striga tensed and leapt, the chain whistled through the air and, coiling like a snake, twined itself around the monster's shoulders, neck, and head. The Striga's jump became a tumble, and she let out an ear-piercing whistle. She thrashed around on the floor, howling horribly with fury from the burning pain inflicted by the despised metal. Geralt was content. If he wanted, he could kill the Striga without great difficulty. But the Witcher did not draw his sword. Nothing in the Striga's behavior had given him reason to think she might be an incurable cause. Geralt moved to a safer distance, and, without letting the writhing shape of the floor out of his sight, breathed deeply, focused himself. The chain snapped. The silver links scattered like rain in all directions, ringing against the stone. The Striga, blind with fury, tumbled to the attack, roaring. Geralt waited calmly, and with his raised right hand, traced the sign of Aaaaannd in front of him. The Striga fell back as if hit by a mallet, but she kept her feet extended from her talons, barred her fangs. Her hair stood on end and fluttered as if she were walking against a fierce wind. With difficulty, one rasping step at a time, she slowly advanced. But she did advance. Geralt grew uneasy. He did not expect such a simple sign to paralyze the Striga entirely, but neither did he expect the beast to overcome it so easily. He could not hold the Striga for long. It was too exhausting, and the Striga had no more than 10 steps to go. He lowered the sign suddenly and sprung aside. The Striga, taken by surprise, flew forward. She lost her balance, fell, slid along the floor, and tumbled down the stairs into the crypt's entrance, yawning on the floor. Her infernal scream reverberated from below. To gain time, Geralt jumped onto the stairs,
leading to the gallery. He had not even climbed halfway up when the Striga ran out of the crypt, speeding along like an enormous black spider. The Witcher waited until she ran up the stairs after him, and then leapt over the balustrade. The Striga turned on the stairs, sprang and flew at him in an amazing 10-meter leap. She did not let herself be deceived by his pirouettes this time. Twice her talons left their mark on the Rivian's leather tunic, but another desperately hard blow from the silver-studded spikes threw the Striga aside. It shook her. Geralt, feeling fury building inside of him, swayed. He bent backwards, and with a mighty kick, knocked the beast off her legs. The roar she gave was louder than all of the previous. Even the plaster crumbled from the ceiling. The Striga sprang up, shaking with uncontrolled anger and lust for murder. Geralt waited. He drew his sword, traced circles with it in the air, and skirted the Striga, taking care that the movement of his sword was not in rhythm with his steps. The Striga did not jump. She approached slowly, following the bright streak of the blade with her eyes. Geralt stopped abruptly, froze with his sword raised. The Striga, disconcerted, also stopped. The Witcher traced a slow semicircle with the blade, took a step in the Striga's direction, then another. Then he leapt, feigning a whirling movement with his sword above his head. The Striga curled up, retreated in a zigzag. Geralt was close again, the blade shimmering in his hands. His eyes lit up with an ominous glow. A hoarse roar tore through his clenched teeth. The Striga backed away, pushed by the power of concentrated hatred, anger, and violence which emanated from the attacking man and struck her in waves, penetrating her mind and body. Terrified and pained by feelings unknown to her, she let out a thin, shaking squeak, turned on the spot, and ran off in desperate, crazy escape down dark tangle of the palace's corridors. Geralt stood quivering in the middle of the hall, alone. It had taken a long time, he thought, before this dance on the edge of an abyss, this mad, macabre ballet of a fight, had achieved the desired effect. Allowed him to physically become one with his opponent, to reach the underlayers of concentrated will which permeated the Striga, the evil, twisted will from which the Striga was born. The Witcher shivered at the memory of taking on that evil to redirect it, as if in a mirror against the monster. Never before had he come across such a concentration of hatred and murderous frenzy, not even from basilisks, who enjoyed a ferocious reputation for it. All the better, he thought as he walked towards the crypt entrance and the blackness that spread from it like an enormous puddle. All the better, all the stronger, was the blow received by the Striga. This would give him a little more time until the beast recovered from the shock. The Witcher doubted whether he could repeat such an effort. The elixirs were weakening, and it was still a long time until dawn. But the Striga could not return to her crypt before first light, or all this trouble would come to nothing. He went down the stairs. The crypt was not large. There was room for 3 stone sarcophagi. The slab covering the first was half pushed aside. Geralt pulled the 3rd vial from beneath his tunic, quickly drank its contents, climbed into the tomb, and stretched out in it. As he had expected, it was a double tomb for a mother and daughter.
He had only just pulled the cover closed when he heard the Striggers roar again. He lay on his back, next to Ada's mummified corpse, and traced the sign of Yrden inside of the slab. He laid his sword on his chest, stood a tiny hourglass filled with phosphorescent sand next to it, and crossed his arms. He no longer heard the Striggers' screams as she searched the palace. He had gradually stopped hearing anything as the true love and Celadine began to work. All right. Woo! So my guy just decides to go lay down in the sarcophagi, huh? Not me, cuh. Not me. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you dug it. I did. And we're back. Night riding. Shout out to the chat. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the followers, sincerely.
Thank you, thank you. Far too kind.
I couldn't really break character too much, but it's deeply important to me, and I'm grateful. And so, thank you. Yeah, a lot can happen between dusk and dawn, huh? Whew, craziness. I probably could have read that differently in hindsight. Again, if I wanted to be really good at this, I'd probably read ahead and then reread it for you all. But I like the fact that we're all doing this together. You don't hear the background music? Shadow says he doesn't hear the background music. Thank you for the compliments. Can you all not hear the background music? He says it's low. You want me to turn it up for you? All right. I think it was always there, baby. You gotta turn up your speakers, cuz. I don't know if you got the AirPods in. You know you got the one funny AirPod. So yeah. Chooch. So that was it. The Witcher and the Strigger. I'm into it. And I think that I've already seen so much of this in the Netflix series, and I hate that. But it's kind of cool. Most people say the books are better. And I happen to agree with that at least a little bit in the cases that I've read the books, actually. More often than not, if I've seen the movie, I won't read the book, and sometimes vice versa. But the Strigger. I got a feeling she's gonna make it, y'all. I think she's gonna make it. So I gather, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I gather that he's able to like harness the monster's fear creation. Like when a monster's created by magic, he can take all that, whatever vibe and energy that was used to inflict the spell, he can kind of like absorb it and then reflect it back. And so like the monster feels their own shit. It's almost like, damn, I'm that terrible. So I guess that was the move there, so that he could figure out if it was worth saving her or if he had to bang rang. So delayed. I hate it. I'm gonna need a new PC or Mac, as it were. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy a Mac. He did. He had the special juju in the vials for show. So he takes those and then now that part I think is cooler when you see it. The visual effects of that, epic. Yeah. Skin goes white, gets all the like veiny face and pupils dilate super like dark. Bang, bang, bang. For sure. PC time. I'm gonna go Mac, son, so I can do the Musica, the Harry Frost. But I appreciate you.
Thank you. Far too kind.
All right. It's 42 minutes in. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting chapter 4 and then call it a night, but we did 4 and 5. Well done. I have a feeling we're going to finish this book, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're not yet a quarter into it, but we're making some dents. Thank you, Chucha Barber. Thank you all for being here, for real. And to the new attendees, thank you. Come on back. Not tonight, because we're about to wrap up, but next time. One more chapter. I don't think so. I know. I don't think so. We're actually on chapter 7. Oh, wow. All right. If someone else says one more chapter, I'm going to give it to you because it's only a page long. So if you want it, you got it. But there's no pressure. We can pick this up again tomorrow or the following or whenever. Listen. This is called One More Chapter. One More Chapter. All right. You guys, I love it. Make it 2. We'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. One of us is exhausted. It's been a very productive day. I even did some music today. Got a verse recorded, a little bit of a hook. Hey, productive. All the chapters. Yeah, let's finish the book. You want to just stay up all night and run it? No, thank you. All right, but I'm going to do this for y'all. Love that transition. All right, I'm going to turn this music up just a little bit more for you. Somebody said that they couldn't hear it. Here it is. How's that? Yeah, the Patrick Rothfuss. Listen, that's probably my favorite book. And fortunately for us, this one's pretty well endowed. And there's like 8 of these things or so. So we've got a lot to read together, but we'll get to The Name of the Wind. I'm still waiting on the author to finish. So. Okay. You wanted it. You got it. Third one is not out. Do not play with my emotions like that. I'll cut this live stream right now. And no. If it is, prove it. Don't tease me. Okay. He's joking. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. All right. Anyway, everybody else is like, who gives a shit? All right. Chapter 7. Crazy. Chapter 7. When did we start this? Yesterday? Day before? We're doing great. I'm proud of us. Huh? For real. Reading. It's cool, huh? All right. We're back in the crypt. Just fought the Striga. Still midnight. Close to 3. Here we go. When Geralt opened his eyes, the sand had passed through the hourglass, which meant his sleep had been even longer than he had intended. He pricked up his ears and heard nothing. His senses were now functioning normally. He took hold of his sword and, murmuring an incantation, ran his hand across the lid of the sarcophagus. He then moved the slab slightly, just a couple of inches. Silence. He pushed the lid further, sat, holding his weapon at the ready, and lifted his head above the tomb. The crypt was dark, but the Witcher knew that outside, dawn was breaking. He struck a light, lit a miniature lamp, and lifted it, throwing strange shadows across the walls of the crypt. It was empty. He scrambled from the sarcophagus, aching, numb, cold. And then he saw her. She was lying on her back next to the tomb, naked and unconscious. She was rather ugly, slim with small pointed breasts, and dirty. Her hair, flaxen red, reached almost to her waist. Standing the lamp on the slab, he knelt beside her and leant over. Her lips were pale, and her face was bloody where he had hit her in the cheekbone. Geralt removed his gloves, put his sword aside, and without any fuss, drew her up top lip with his finger. Her teeth were normal. He reached for her hand, which was buried in her tangled hair. Before he took it, he saw her open her eyes. Too late. She swiped at him across the neck with her talons, cutting him deeply. Blood splashed onto her face. She howled, striking him in the eyes with her other hand. He fell on her, grabbing her by the wrists, nailing her to the floor. She gnashed her teeth, which were now too short, in front of his face. He butted her in the face with his forehead and pinned her down harder. She had lost her former strength. She could only writhe beneath him, howling, spitting out blood, his blood, which was pouring over her mouth. His blood was draining away quickly. There was no time. The Witcher cursed and bit her hard on the neck, just below the ear. He dug his teeth in and clenched them until her inhuman howling became a thin, despairing scream, and then a choking sob. The cry of a hurt 14-year-old girl. He let her go when she stopped moving, got to his knees, tore a piece of canvas from his sleeve pocket, and pressed it to his neck. He felt for his sword, held the blade to the unconscious girl's throat, and leaned over her hand. The nails were dirty, broken, bloodied, but normal. Completely normal. The Witcher got up with difficulty. The sticky, wet grayness of early morning was flooding in through the crypt's entrance. He made a move towards the stairs, but staggered and sat down heavily onto the floor. Blood was pouring through the drenched canvas onto his hands, running down his sleeve. He unfastened his tunic, slit his shirt, tore and ripped rags from it, and tied them around his neck. Knowing that he didn't have much time, that he would soon faint, he succeeded and fainted. In Wisdom, beyond the lake, a cock, ruffling his feathers in the cold, damp, crowed hoarsely for the third time. Gang! He did it. She's a real girl. And ladies and gentlemen, we did it, okay? I think that was wonderful. It kind of rounds out the story just a little bit. We know what happens to her. We know where he's at. Unfortunately, my guy's bleeding out of his neck, though. Don't dig that, little wench. But I think she just cut him with nails, you know what I'm saying? She's probably not all that deep.
That's what she said.
It's not enough, though. I think it's enough. I think it's enough. We have to stop the bleeding. Somebody help! You know what? This could go on all night. I give you one more, give somebody a finger. They want the whole hand. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's like a page and a half. You want it? I give it to you if you want it. If you want to wait, we can wait. I should have looked. I'm sorry. I thought the next chapter was much longer. I think I had 2 pages together. The Voice of Reason 2. I'm confident it's going to be a good one. We can stop here, but I need a little feedback. Need a little feedback here. Go, go. All right, that's 1. That's probably all we need. All right.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Let's go one more. We're going to do one more. He going to do what? Come on. I don't love that these buttons there. See? My hand's up here. How's it now working? Whatever. Doesn't matter, does it? Ryan, just let go. All right, I'm letting go. Back to The Witcher. All right, gotta hit that hour mark.
Well said.
Never let go, Jack. Listen, there was room for 2 people on that board or whatever she was laying on. Just saying, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, chapter 8. We're killing this thing. I mean, all right. I hope everyone still with me. Some of y'all have probably fallen asleep by now. Jealous. All right, chapter 8. Here we go. We good? Cool. He saw the whitened walls and beamed ceiling of the small chamber above the guard room. He moved his head, grimacing with pain, and moaned. His neck was bandaged thickly, thoroughly, professionally.
Lie still, Witcher, said Valorad. Lie, do not move. My sword. Yes, of course. What is most important is your Witcher's silver sword. It's here, don't worry. Both the sword and your little trunk. And the 3,000 orens. Yes, don't utter a word. It is I, who am an old fool, and you the wise Witcher. Faustus has been repeating it over and over for the last 2 days. 2? Oh, yes, 2. She slit your neck open quite thoroughly. One could see everything you have inside there. You lost a great deal of blood. Fortunately, we hurried to the palace straight after the 3rd crowing of the cock. Nobody slept in Wisdom that night. It was impossible. You made terrible noise. Does my talking tire you? The princess. The princess is like a princess. Thin. And somewhat dull-witted. She weeps incessantly and wets her bed. But Faustus says this will change. I don't think it will change for the worse. Do you, Geralt? The Witcher closed his eyes. Good. I'll take my leave now. You rest. Valorad got up. Geralt, before I go, tell me, why did you try to bite her to death, eh? Geralt? The Witcher was asleep. As will I be! In just a little bit. That was cute, huh? That's a sweet little ending. And that's where we're gonna cut it, folks. No mas. Not tonight. Tonight, we turn this car around, go straight back to the crib. Shadow just had a Celsius. He's good to go. Well, you're on your own, baby. Because where I'm at, it's well past my bedtime. But that was cool. So, the cock crows 3 times in the story, and the cock crowed 3 times before Jesus. See that? It's an Easter story. You get it. I think that's cool. Shout out. The Witcher. Andrzej Sapkowski. Hope I'm saying his name right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute pleasure. And I'm so grateful that you've been with me. And I look forward to the next chapter. Maybe tomorrow morning. Can't make any promises, but it's possible. It's a possibility. Hope you dig it. That's all I got. That's what I got. I did work on some music today. Feel good about that. I'm unhappy that it's unfinished, but I had to wrap that up to get to this, and this was a bit more important, as a matter of fact. So, but hey, gotta shake off that rust. If nothing more, it did give me the confidence to come into this one's intro quite strongly. I thought I did that fairly well today. They're getting easier as I'm like learning the words. Plus, now that I got one out the way, wow, that is the coolest
several emotes I've seen. That was well done. Is that one emote or like several? Looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got like a 5-pack there. Swaggy. Okay. What are y'all doing? What's going on in your world? Huh? Anybody? Whoa. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the feed. I don't even know what to make of it. Got laser beams, killing squids, squid game. Fun. Wishing everyone a good night. Chucha, thank you so much for being here, darling. I love you. And I hope to catch you on the next one. Are you going walking in the morning? Give you a second to text back. If you are, then maybe we can run it one more again. I'll wake up early, and as I do, I say early, it'll be late for y'all. But yeah, we can run one at the same time. Same bat time, same bat channel, friends. And no walk, it's Saturday. Okay, we don't walk on Saturdays. On Saturday. I didn't know. All right, well, we can play it by ear. And if I do run another chapter and anyone misses it, you can always rewatch the video and then just kind of catch up. Or call me and I'll fill you in. This is a family affair, it seems. But again, many thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Far too kind.
I don't know if Anthony's still here. I'm pretty sure he came and went. He was like, yeah, get it together. It's no walk Saturdays. Come on. Sorry, I didn't know. That's the first time I've used that one. It's kind of hard to pull that one out unless somebody makes a bad joke and then, I don't know. That's what she said. Probably could have said that. All right, I'm getting delusional. 10 is late for me. And it's been a very long day. I wake up at 5:45 and I mean, I put a lot of time into this stream thing. Look at this background, huh? We are night riding, ladies and gentlemen. Night riding. But I got a lot of love for y'all. Thank you again for being here. Shout out to Geralt and them. Look at those emojis. That's new. Come on, baby. We're killing this thing. Yeah.
We testing the game. Oh, yeah.
All right. And on that note, I'm going to bid you all adieu. Good night. Good night. Good night. And have a great rest of your evening. Thank you. Shout out to that. Got an avatar date. Looking forward to it. Okay. That's my cue. Thank you again. I will see you all when I see you all. Need those points, right? So we can hit you with Michael Scott. No kidding. Got to get to a Philly. A Philly. So yeah. Thank you. And this will help. Every time we stream, I think we get a little bit closer. We don't have a schedule, I'm afraid. It's tentative, baby. It's loose. I play it loose. The intention was to try to stream once a week. And for me, Saturday, Sunday works best around 11. So tomorrow, in keeping with that, that's what we'll try to do, okay? So everybody, set your calendar alarms. Eastern Standard, we're looking at 5 o'clock. Norwegian time, 11 a.m. How about that? And if you're on the Pacific, I don't even know. I think you're just gonna have to watch the VOD because it's probably gonna be stupid early for y'all. But I don't think anybody from over there is over here. So hey, it's all good. Yep, 5 a.m. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to commit to that. And I'm gonna fire the gun one time to let you know it. So you know it's real. All right. Everybody good? Thank you again. Thank you. Matter of fact, somebody hit exclamation gratitude. See if that works for me. This crazy kid. Super early. First of all, you're part of the reason why we do it as early as we do. That didn't work. The gratitude. But first time chatter. Welcome. Come on. Come again. Love that. Thank you for being here. I'm not sure if you missed the story. We had a hell of a night in the crypt. We met the Striga. I think we saved the Striga, the princess, more accurately. Sexy mustache. All right, well, you can get that too. You're probably referring to the little graphic at the top of the screen. Yeah, just a little bit of whimsy. A little bit of whimsy in there, isn't it? No, Shadow, we're not reading another chapter. Sorry, bruh. It's past my bedtime, son. I'm afraid it is. Tell us the legend of Frody Frode. How about next time? We will do that. Shout out to Rody. Shout out to the whole team. H5P. Thank you for being here. For real, for real. And I've put some nuggets in the panels. If you visit the Twitch channel, you know, there's like an about section and there's a schedule and all of that. So check that out. Some of y'all got a little love in there. Encore, encore. I got nothing better to do tomorrow. No, but I gotta get my beauty sleep, baby. I'm fancy, huh? I really do, but I love the engagement. This is probably the most engagement that I've ever received. So thank you, for real. One more again. I hate the delay. I really hate it. That's all right. It's processing. We're night riding. Yeah. All right. Team, we did it. Geralt and them. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the chat. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for listening. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you. For real. And we out of here. Testing the game and we out. One for the road. Ladies and gentlemen, go get some sleep, get some dinner, or whatever y'all gotta do. I am gone. Peace.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind.